This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
It is Thursday, January 23rd, and it is 6:07 p.m. and this is the Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership. Welcome, everybody. All right, there's no one here for public speak. Do you want to introduce yourself, Allison?
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Allison Manuel. I am the new planning director, taking over where Jeff Ag left off. I just started in December, mid-December, so right before the holidays, which is, I've been saying, a funny time of the year to start a new job. So a lot of catching up to do, trying to just like be a sponge and soak it all in as much as I can. And yeah, I'm thankful to have been invited, and I'm glad to be here, and can't wait to like dive into all that's going on. I was present for the presentation to the city council last month. That was like day 2 of my employment here, I think. Very impressed by everything that was in that. So I think there's a lot that can be done that I can help with.
Great, excellent. I was saying to Kai, I'm like, where you said, oh, I read it, it looks great. I was like, phew, because you could have read it and been like, what are you guys doing?
No, I was
rogue group.
No, I was like just blown. Usually people who don't do zoning like on a regular basis, it just they could not have put together what you did. So I really
a lot of the credit goes to Kayam, who did and
you knocked it out of
huge amount of the work in writing. So
well, I appreciate that. Everyone in the group did amazing work. So.
Yeah, we're very excited to move forward with that project. Do you have any questions about what the partnership does or is before we just dive into our agenda?
I mean, I think I have a sense of it. If there's like a elevator pitch that you have, I'm happy to hear. And if there's any like, I think it'll probably come up in the agenda, but besides the zoning amendments, if there's like any active projects going on that you're involved with, happy to listen in about that too.
I mean, I think our general elevator pitch is that our mission is to, preserve and support the production of affordable housing in the city. We're an advisory committee. We don't have any fiscal power or decision-making ability. Right. We're appointed by the mayor. And we just try to advise, planning department, the mayor's office, the council on different affordable housing and fair housing issues, and then advocate for projects. We like it when developers come to us early in the process so we can be involved in the project. That doesn't always happen, but it sometimes happens. We often hear from other affordable housing groups about CPA requests before they go to CPA. So Valley CDC is here tonight to talk to us about a request that they have so that we can then be supportive when they get the CPA. And we usually pick a couple of projects to work on. The zoning project is like, we've been working on it for about a year and it'll probably take us another year. So I think that'll be our biggest project that we have going on. So yeah. And we have 9 members, which is very exciting, and a lot of expertise on the committee. So we're really lucky that many of us have either worked in affordable housing or work in other areas of affordable housing, have degrees in planning, and so.
I think the city is very fortunate overall. I've just noticed a lot of the committees and boards just have highly qualified people on them. It's not always the case. So yeah, it's been really refreshing.
Can I ask, because I don't know the answer to this, can I ask where you hail from?
So I live in town, in the city.
Maybe don't say that out loud all the time.
No, you live here.
Oh, yes. I know.
Where were you working before?
Yeah. So I moved here 4 years ago or so, and previously was in Northampton, but grew up in Wilbraham. So I've spent my whole life in this general area. I prior to coming here was in West Springfield for 9 years.
Okay.
About 5 of those, I was the planning director there. I have said this over and over again, vastly different cities, like very, very different places culturally, politically. I was topographically, geographically, yeah. It is. They're a much bigger city, but different, just different challenges and different mindsets. So I was excited to come here, where I feel like my personal values align a bit more with the community and the culture here, and that has proven to be a good assessment on my part. I've felt really good about everybody that I've met and the goals and everything. So yeah, there's more. It's interesting. This is a much smaller city, but there's a lot more going on in some ways. In the sense that there's less staff, so it's less specialized. So every staff member is doing a wider variety of things, and that's also been really exciting to get to be a part of more projects than I was there.
Cool.
So yeah,
Thanks.
All right, let's dive into the minutes. Jackie distributed the December meeting minutes about 20 minutes ago. If you've had a chance to review them, take a motion to approve them if people have had a chance to review them. I reviewed them. I can make a motion to approve the minutes.
But you can always join us, Connie, if you want.
Bye, Connie.
Bye.
Does anybody have a second?
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor to approve the December meeting minutes?
Everybody?
Okay, any abstentions? Or what's the other word?
Abstain.
Abstentions or
Nays.
nays? Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Great. So welcome Sarah and Donna from Valley CDC to talk to us about their CPA request.
Thanks, and thanks for having us. It's good to see you, and it's nice to meet you. Nice to meet the new folks joining. So this is a similar program that we pitched about 3.5 years ago now. It's been a long 3.5, 4 years, the COVID years, as I refer to them as.
27 years.
Yeah. So it's a similar first-time home buyer program in financial literacy. We're going to be working with households who are challenged by high rents to try to help them save and plan and become first-time home buyers. So there is some financial assistance of $50,000 per household in the form of a forgivable loan that would be forgiven year 11 through 15, sorry. So the idea of the program is to keep the affordability for folks making under 100%, which has been extremely difficult in the last 4.5 years or so. The prices have climbed quite a bit, over 35% in price increases since then. And, it's not just first-time home buyer education and counseling. There is some financial literacy around budgeting, around finding affordable housing units for those people who are paying greater than 50% of their income for rent, which we do see quite a bit of that in the area. So, during this last round, we had tons of inquiries, but nobody could get an accepted offer. We've had greater luck in the past year than we had in the prior 1.5 years that we ran the program, because there was all this overbidding, kind of overbidding, and a lot of investor buyers in the market trying to snap up properties in Easthampton, and in the general Hampshire County area. It wasn't unique to Easthampton. It was pretty widespread. So Sarah, what do you want to add?
I'm sorry, I was trying to hit mute, unmute. I think I just want to make sure people understand that there's two parts of our proposal essentially to the city. Not only are we looking to have three $50,000 subsidies that we're providing, but it's also providing the financial literacy and education to households in Easthampton and first-time homebuyer education through our webinars as well. We were just looking at some data this past week of the current project we've been doing with Easthampton, and we have over 100 and I think almost 120 individuals we've worked with now through this through the webinar and counseling and different pieces. So while we're that big 3 households receiving $50,000 may not seem like a huge impact, there's this other portion of the project too, and it's all kind of combined into one ask with the city. Some people may have a question about, for those who knew the past program that we have been running, we had $25,000 subsidies. We have had we increased the ask to 50 simply because that is the amount that is needed now for most people to put down for a home. 25,000 isn't filling the gap that we've been trying to help in the past. And we have had success in other cities with the 50,000. And so that's why we went for that, using that information from there.
Right.
Can you say where, Sarah?
I'm sorry?
Can you say which other cities this has worked in, just because that will be useful to know?
Yeah, so the Northampton, we have successfully done 50,000 regularly with. And actually, we had an Easthampton household that ended up buying in Northampton because of the 50,000. So if we know that people go back and forth, but like that, essentially the extra 25 was that much more beneficial for them. And then Donna, what about Amherst? We didn't do 50, but we did.
So we ran a couple rounds in Amherst and it was pretty successful until COVID. And, the prices over there in Amherst are just too high. And, the most affordable house is like $440,000 and it might need $100,000 in immediate repairs. So we're just not doing it. We're just not going to do Amherst. It's too much. It's just too much repairs. But this program does allow people to hang on to some of their own cash to deal with those immediate repairs, because we're still in a seller's market and sellers are still looking for the highest and best offer. They're not willing to do a lot of stuff. They're not going to replace the roof if the roof needs to be replaced in the next 3 years. So this program does allow these folks to hang on to the cash that they have to be able to address those immediate repairs. So it's another big impact of the program.
Did you say Sorry, I'm sorry. I was just asking a lot of questions. Have you been able to do any of these in Easthampton, or it hasn't worked out at all?
We've done.
Oh no, we've done 2. We've done 3.
Okay.
We've done 3, and we've done 2 in this past year. The first one was much slower because this market is kind of turning around a little bit, but it's still challenging for buyers.
That was going to be my question. So are you out of, how much was your previous CPA request?
I forget the total, but we had 4 $25,000 subsidies.
And are you out of all of them now?
We have
one remaining.
Okay.
And we are in discussion with them about rolling that one into, we presented at CPA last week. We're in discussion of like rolling those funds over because they understand CPA is tricky with like, they don't want to take, we can't really give money back, but we don't, it's all these different pieces. So we're talking about like extending or like adding on to with rolling funds over. The other thing, like I'll give you a few examples of just how this program has worked for some people. So everybody that we've worked with is better understanding their household budget. 2 of the households that I use as examples, both have learned the home ownership process. They've worked to reduce their debt and one household became debt-free prior to purchasing their home. And then due to the work to improve their financial situation, and reducing the debt, and then the subsidy, that was what allowed them to purchase the first home. Another homeowner or now homeowner, they were being faced with displacement due to the sale of the rental that they were living in, and it happened pretty quickly. And so they sought assistance from us to help them and with the subsidy, and that happened last fall. And then somebody else who is they're currently working on improving their situation and receiving one-on-one counseling from us to improve their understanding of their household budget. They're looking to break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and like what areas they can do that, and having us as an ability to check in with us on a regular basis is helpful. And so they're somebody who's getting ready so that when the time is right for them to purchase, they can buy that house the second it's available, or they have the funds, and that they're not starting in another 2 or 3 years. They're starting the process sooner than later. And so some people that are interested in the subsidies, we've been working with along the way as well, to help them improve their situations, so that when the timing of buying the house does happen, they can do it.
It's great. So I just want to jump in and say I did the first time home buyer program.
I used to teach it
5 years ago, and it was very, very helpful. And doing what I do, I felt like I knew quite a bit of it, but my husband felt just 10 times better after having taken it. Just felt like really empowered to make good choices. So I can vouch for it firsthand.
so good.
Yeah, and we're letting folks know about other loan programs like the MHP1 mortgage and mass housing's down payment assistance. You know, the down payment assistance they have is a second lien position at 0%. So, you know, kind of stacking these programs can help keep some affordability, you know, for folks under 100% AMI. And all of the other programs out there, Federal Home Loan Bank, all of those are going up to 120 and 150%. Even mass housing is going up that high now. And MHP uses a higher 100% number than the CPA number. So, you know, it really hurts my heart because, you know, I've done this for so long, and I remember the days when people below 80 could actually do this, and it's becoming more and more challenging as time goes on.
And I think the last piece I want to add is like we also do post-purchase counseling as well. So on the other side, and the subsidy also allows people to make sure that they're able to save for those long-term maintenance and repairs that they need to make sure they stay insurable and stay in their home long-term. So it's kind of a whole wraparound program that we're offering.
Do you want a letter from us? That's what we're wanting to do.
Yes, this letter of support.
And so you've already met with CPA once, and how did that go?
Good.
It went really well. They just had a couple because of where they are with different budgets and things. And then our current contract, we're providing a little bit of additional information. And then they will have other projects present in February, and they will vote in March.
Okay.
Fast.
Does anybody
No one
else have
seems
questions?
shocked either by that. Nobody seems surprised by our increased ask of the subsidy being 50.
Valley CDC.
And nobody gave you a hard time about paying for staff? Because I know that's been a problem, that we've had challenges with that in the past where people don't understand how nonprofits pay their employees
We got
and
some information.
ask a whole lot of weird questions. Okay, good.
No, we were great job presenting on that, Sarah.
I have one question regarding just sort of the range of home prices that you guys are sort of aiming to help people make offers on.
Well, it's going to depend on the family size because, of course, the incomes are tied to family size. But I would say around 350 or less. And I know that's a challenge, but you know, like I said, we've had greater luck. We've had greater luck, and honestly, it's luck because people call me, "Oh, I'm going to make the offer today," and then they call me the next day. "Oh, we didn't get the bid. We didn't get the bid." There's still competition out there, and I'm aware of my own clients competing against each other, and I can just give them the speech about putting their best foot forward, putting the $5,000 down and making their best offer. and talking to the realtor about, are there multiple bids on this property, and kind of knowing that, and then, really looking at the condition of the property and does it seem affordable to them before they get knee deep into accepted offers and contracts, because it's something that I'm going to be looking at with them and reviewing the inspection report and saying, how are you going to manage this?
I think the other piece to be aware of is like the price point is truly different based off the household size and annual median income, but this 50,000 increases their purchasability. So if they're at 300 right now, as a household of 4 with 100% AMI, they're now going to be able to look at things at the 350,000 range. So it just helps them get that much closer to purchasing something in the town in Easthampton where they want to be. Or if they're at 350 based off their income, they can, get to 400.
Right. And if they have their own if they have savings, which we do meet, a lot of households been planning for this for a long time. And we meet plenty of people that have 30 or 40,000 of their own funds because they've really been trying to do this for many years. And, that also increases their buying power.
Do you want me to make a motion that we're going to write a letter of support?
Does anyone else have any other questions?
I guess I just have some nuts and bolts questions. I'm a realtor, so I'm thinking about like the whole real estate process. So when you give them their grant, then do they get some kind of documentation that they then take to a lender when they apply for the lending? Because in terms of their proof of funds, or?
So this program is on a first come, first served basis with a accepted offer. That's when we accept the application from the buyer when they have an accepted offer. If they're out there bidding, we're working with them. We've pretty much got a completed application from them because we've reviewed pay stubs, tax returns, different things with them.
You just reminded me, because I was actually working with a client who had the grant, and my concern was, because I remember her saying she would get it accepted after she had an accepted offer. So I was wondering then, is her offer contingent on getting that grant? And that was my concern with the strength of her offer, if it was going to be contingent on her receiving funds that were not yet guaranteed.
I have this conversation with people a lot of times. I said, I know the realtor won't want you to put that in the offer, but when I'm down to 1 and I know I have, 3 people maybe shopping out there, this is when I kind of warn people of that. You might want to put this in the offer, because whoever shows up here with, when I'm down to 1, but these are not flying out the door. It's, I'm going to tell you, it's very difficult at a price point below 400,000 to secure the offer, be in that sweet spot of meeting the income, having enough of your own funds, being qualified for the right mortgage, and getting that accepted offer. I talk to people every day that have bid on a property yesterday and they didn't get it because they've been outbid by somebody else.
No, I know. I guess my concern is that with having a contingency, even if all things are equal, even if their offer is a little stronger, the fact that they can't have guaranteed funds ahead of time is going to just weaken them in the process. So that was just a concern that I had.
Right.
Yeah, it is, Donna. It is tricky because we also, if we guarantee fund, we go back and forth about this all the time internally too. If we guarantee the funds, then we've immediately eliminated anybody else from that until that person, like how long do we guarantee those funds for? And if that sale doesn't go through, there's a lot of back and forth that ends up happening too on our side.
I totally understand that. And I don't know if this is possible, but if there's a way to, when people are putting in an offer, if there's a way to kind of guarantee for the duration of because there's usually a 48-hour period max. Usually it's within 6 hours that they're going to find out if they got their offer accepted or not. So it'd be awesome if when they go to write their offer, if you could give them a guaranteed window, because just any contingents in there is going to weaken their offer. And I would just hate to see that. Even if their offer is higher, often I see sellers will accept the one with no contingency. So I just want to, if there's any creative way, I understand, I'm not like criticizing. I love your program and I love telling people about these programs. I want these buyers to have the strongest possible chance. That's
Yeah,
all.
no, that I appreciate that, Lindsay. I hear you, and we'll try and continue to think about ways of being creative about it, and maybe we can separate
I
up here,
just-
have another conversation with you about it.
I just ask people to be in really close communications with me when they're at that point of making multiple offers over the weekend, and to, get to me on Monday. And generally I try to collect almost everything ahead of time so that, if they're at that point of making offers, they just have to update a couple things, and, we can say, yes, we're moving forward. We're moving
Right.
forward with this
You
buyer.
know that, but the prospective seller doesn't know that. That's
Right.
yeah.
Right. And I know you don't want to put that in the offer. I get it. I get it. Because I tell the buyers that I'm like, your realtor's not going to want to put this in the offer, but just make sure if you get an accepted offer that you're calling me and emailing me right over the weekend, and then call me first thing Monday morning.
So I'll make a motion to allow Janet to write a letter of support on our behalf for Valley to request CPA money.
I'll second it.
I was gonna second the motion for Janet.
I know.
That's our process, right? So I'll show it to all of you. All those in favor of allowing me to write a letter of support for LACDC?
Yes,
Great.
all right.
Thank you. When do you need it by, Donna? Soon?
Soon. Yeah, I would say soonish, before their next meeting probably would be great, so that they at least have it.
You're voting in March on
They're
that?
voting in March, but they're meeting again in February.
I will, I'll do it soon. If I wait that long, I'll forget about it. So, I will get that to you.
Right.
Great.
Well,
so
thank
much,
you. We
everybody.
thank you for your continued support.
Thank you for continuing to do great things. Have a good night.
You too.
Have
Bye-bye.
a great night.
Miss Allen just resigned from the CPA committee.
Oh, she was gonna do that.
Dan List is back on the CPA committee.
It was a short retirement from the CPA committee.
For Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I don't know if we have anybody here to speak to this, but there was a meeting with the tenants of 22.
Donna didn't go, Connie did, but I don't
And I
know.
Oh, you do
went.
know.
That's right, I forgot you went.
Great. Is there anything to update us?
Yes, I have a lot of thoughts. Hold on. Yeah, so they met. It was really interesting. I mean, not a lot of new information, and they didn't have a lot of new information, but I thought it was definitely powerful to hear their stories, and it was really cool to see how organized they were and how Springfield No One Leaves was there, which I thought was really cool. They brought all their staff. And the director made a really good point that these people already sort of sound like a tennis organization. And sort of, I think, countered when I introduced myself, I expressed we want to support in the short term as much as possible. And, in the long term, we're looking at how we can support rent stabilization, and all of that. But, yeah, in the short term, she was just sort of no, actually, there is stuff that we can do. There's collective bargaining agreements that they can pursue. They can continue to try to write petitions and make demands of the new landlord. They can tell their story to press, all that stuff. So I thought that was really interesting. After the fact, I reached out to the Springfield No One Leaves people to sort of get some input on coalition and base building, just see what I can learn to apply to Easthampton. And they set up a meeting with me next week. So
This is really their bread and butter. Springfield No One Leaves.
yeah, I was really happy to see them there,
Yeah.
because I was I can write an op-ed, but these people know what they're talking about. They have a press list, they have a legislative team, they have lawyers,
Have any of the residents moved? Has anybody moved out or been taken to court or not paid their rent or?
From what I could surmise from that meeting, from the people who showed up.
Yeah.
There were the majority that re-signed the lease for a year. Some people were month to month. I don't know what that would look like.
It was higher if it was month to month, right?
I think so. There were a few people that hadn't signed their lease yet. And they were sort of like trying to see what options they had. And I think those were the people that were more likely to get directly in touch with the SNOL and their lawyers.
Are you familiar with this situation?
I'm not.
There's is it 33 units?
Something like
I
that.
just pulled it up. I could see.
Yeah.
I think I get the gist
It
of
was,
what's happening.
it was sold and the rents went up a lot.
Yeah, they were,
I don't have those notes in front of me.
they demanded a 40% rent increase, but then if they didn't sign within 10 days, it was gonna go to like a 50% rent increase. Yeah, some nasty stuff.
You can ask who bought it. Is it like a local?
It's not local. It's somebody out of town, but it's being managed by some property company in like,
Connecticut?
no,
Yeah, or something.
I want to say Palmer.
Oh, okay.
Liz, at the city is very familiar
Yeah.
with this whole situation.
Yeah. They did mention like the Springfield known leaves people mentioned that the management company is a known evictor.
Oh,
Kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah.
The management company is what?
Is a known evictor.
A known evictor,
Like
sorry.
they deal with a lot of their cases in the local housing court. And so that was an important thing to know. And also, I'm pretty sure the new owners are like a subsidiary LLC of like a very large or a larger hedge fund or investment firm. So there's not a lot of like financial pressure they feel like they can put on. So.
And it seemed like it was like a family-owned complex. And the rents were probably kept below market and people had lived there a long time.
Yeah, is the rent increase consistent with the market?
It's still below market. Like I think they were paying $11.50 and the new ask was gonna be 14 something and then or 15.
Are they 2 bedrooms?
Yeah,
It's a mix of things. So Leslie had said to us last time, I think I had it.
oh yeah, we had one resident come last time.
Yeah. She said that there's been 150% increase in rent over the past 12 months. Like the previous
Yeah.
landlord had increased the rent and then this new landlord increased it even more. But I think it was, I don't think this ended up in the minutes, but she did say it was like a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom kind of units there.
And I guess they've listed a unit without any improvements made to it for $18.50 and they're sort of worried that that will be the next hike that happens.
Yeah, and there's nothing to stop that right now.
Right. So we had talked last time about making sure they knew about raft and community legal, like making sure the residents knew about what other resources they have in case they found themselves in court for not being able to pay their rent. But Springfield, no one leaves. This is like what they do. So it's good if they're connected there. How did the meeting end? Just
Good. Good. I guess, I mean, people felt like they were ready to tell their stories and, yeah, it was sort of anticlimactic at the end. Like everyone was just sort of like, this sucks.
yeah.
And, like, there's only a little bit that we can sort of do on it and we're just gonna have to spin our wheels for a little while. But yeah, I mean, personally, I was excited by some of the things that SNOL said about their legislative advocacy. I guess they introduced a rent control bill, a statewide rent control bill. So I think that it might be cool for us to advocate the city council to write a resolution in support of that. I had a meeting with Connie and Omar Gomez, and I got him to support the Tenant Protection Act, which is like a slightly more moderate version that just removes the preemption and gives municipalities the option to do local rent control. And he was very amenable to that. So I'm sure that he'd be amenable to co-sponsoring something more ambitious. that also sort of encapsulates all of the updates on the Housing Coalition too.
Oh, okay. Great, thank you.
Awesome.
Agenda item, check.
Is there anything else we should do or know or about this issue?
No, I mean, I'm trying to get LinkedIn to the email chain, and if there's anything important, we can forward it around, but.
About how many people are in this like tenant group?
Maybe like 20 or 30. There were a good amount of people there.
That is good.
Thanks. I mean, the big increase.
An instant. An instant,
Yeah, I mean, I
like no
think
step
That's
increase.
the part that I feel like is so challenging is it's like in 10 days, your rent is gonna go up $600.
Well, my check's not, so.
You know, I mean, I get it's a business but there's better ways to increase the rent if you really feel like you need to increase the rent. Okay. So moving on, Connie, the ordinance committee met tonight. So our zoning recommendation, just
I went to the meeting on the 19th.
I thought it was tonight.
No, it happened.
They did meet tonight. I was
Did
there
they meet
before
tonight
here,
too?
but not on this.
Wasn't
Yeah.
about this, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Because I have a whole report out from that
oh,
previous one.
did they talk about our thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, do you want to do that first?
Sure.
On January 19th, like
No,
4
no,
days ago?
December 9th.
Oh.
So Kyan
Like, what did I
presented
miss
at the
Oh, and
city
then it
council,
went to,
and then it went the next night to ordinance
Okay.
committee, and I have a list of what they want us to do.
oh, would you like, read that? I didn't know
Okay.
that.
So I went and, Lindsay, were you there with me, or was it, no, Yoshi was there.
I wasn't there.
Yoshi was there with me. So they recommended that we set up like a subcommittee to go, so that it's not the whole committee working with them. So I think we should talk about this, because what we had said originally was that this group, we like sort of passed it off to them and let them do the work. Like our work here is done, but they would like, a group of us to go and work with them to make edits. So just putting that out there so that there's a working group kind of with the ordinance committee doing that. So to identify points of emphasis, bring us in to create a punch list, other things we want to take out, and then make a bulleted list for the planning board and work with them as a working group, 1 or 2 meetings with up to 4 members from the partnership beginning in February. And then Connie wants a list of people to work on it and their availability to meet once or twice a month. Okay. Is that
That is what yes. I didn't know they talked about it on the 19th, but
Yeah.
Connie did email me to tell me that's what she was looking for us
Okay.
tonight.
Oh,
Which is why I put it on the agenda.
all right. And I had it in my.
So we need to decide who those people are. So I would propose that it's Kayam and Ben. Which Ben's not here, but I emailed him and said,
You voluntold him.
well, I mean, he did some of the work on it. I think I would suggest I be on it and then we can have one other person.
Who's on the ordinance committee?
It's, I'll tell you who, it's, Salem, Tamara, and Connie.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, they have the whole thing.
Yeah.
They had it for a day when they
Right.
talked about it, so. And I had, just so you know, I already sent it to Jesse Belcher-Timmy, and his response back was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So he's like, this is really exciting. So that's good news.
Yeah, and the planning board hasn't had a lot on their agendas lately, so they hopefully will have capacity to.
At some point. I mean, it'll happen when it happens.
So we can only have 4 because we can't have a quorum.
Right.
So is there anybody else who really wants to do it?
I can rotate in depending on when the dates are. So if someone else wants to when we get the dates, can definitely be a rotator.
Cool.
I'd really like to do it. I just need someone to like make me do it. Like Kyle, can you be like, Shira, do the thing?
I mean,
It's the ADD. Like I need like they'll put like daily reminders in my calendar. It'll work. 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, work on housing stuff.
I mean, I think we could, like Kai and Ben and I could go in February and get a better sense of what they're going to actually want from us. And then it could be like, oh, Shira, we need you to come to talk about parking.
You know, your favorite thing.
And like, Lindsay, we need you to
It's my
come
thing.
because we need, so
One and a half.
we could figure out what it's really going to look like. And then, because
That's a good
I mean,
idea.
we all worked on it, so I do want
Yeah.
everybody to be able to participate, but we can't all be there because then we have
At the
to
same
post
time.
the code.
That makes sense.
And I imagine at some point, if it hasn't happened already, there will become visitors unhappy about. So actually,
Sometimes.
I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened yet, but there will be visitors unhappy about parts of it. So,
Mhm.
all right. So does that sound like a good plan? So I will let Connie know. I mean, I have to get Ben to say yes, but Kai and Ben and I, and then once we have a sense of what is going to be asked, then we'll come back to everybody and figure it out. Okay, great. All right.
Cool.
Next item, I'm going to have Lindsay talk about this because she's discovered this very strange and terrible ethics commission business that we have a resolution for.
Oh,
So
yeah?
do you want to explain the background? Because when you told me this, I was like, this can't be true. But
Yeah. Okay, so I had expressed interest and was exploring also joining the ZBA. So I was asked to seek ethics, consult based on my being a realtor. Anyway, when I contacted ethics, there was like little issue with zoning because zoning members are considered special municipal employees. However, so when you're a special municipal employee, the rules are a little more lax than other employees. So but then she said, oh, but you're on fair housing. You have more problems there because we are not special municipal employees. That means that we cannot talk to any department in the city, like representing another party. So like, for example, I'm a realtor. I need to call the fire department to come do a CO2 smoke alarm, certification. I'm not supposed to do that because I'm talking to a department representing someone else other than the fair housing. So that's why we're supposed to be we're not special municipal employees right now. So, but like, since zoning is, for example, most of the other committees except ours, because we're the ugly stepchild. No, just kidding. They, like, if I were to be on zoning, I just couldn't talk to zoning about things having to do with my job, but I could talk to the police department or the fire, any other department, the water, to get the water reading. But so in that discovery, I found that we're very limited in that all of us probably, because we're engaged in organizations and things that interact with the city in some capacity, we actually all would be limited in that role in terms of talking to any city department if we're not talking about fair housing.
So Lindsay brought this up to Connie and I was like, you're crazy. This person at ethics is crazy. But in fact, Lindsay is correct. So Connie, I circled back with Connie right before this meeting and it was like, hey, what are we going to do about this? So Connie also spoke to the Ethics Commission, and the city council does need to give us special municipal status. She talked to the mayor, and apparently any mayoral appointee automatically gets the status, except housing partnership members. Like we are somehow, we're like left off the list of mayoral appointees who get.
They're just like forgotten about when
we are forgotten.
So we do not have special municipal employee designation.
We do not. However, Connie is going to request it, and apparently it's not hard to get. Like city council just designates it.
Might
So
not want to give it to us right now.
the good news, yeah.
How many people have to vote? Just.
Oh, no.
Screw yourselves, guys. So the good news is that it's not hard to get, and it was apparently an oversight, not like, oh no, we would never give it to the housing partnership. Because like I mean, I probably shouldn't say this in the recorded meeting, but like I have totally called the city departments about things related to other things.
Yeah, the
well,
municipal
she
leadership
lived here.
academy, so I'm mad, like,
What's really interesting, what I find interesting about now knowing this is that like we've all taken that stupid ethics test, we've all read like,
Here,
and it always felt very clear of like what we were not allowed to do, and so this is not covered by the like it doesn't cover. It just seems weird to me that like we didn't know this. So the good news is that Connie was submitting it in the city council packet. Or when did she send me this email? Might have been this past week. So I don't know what happened. We can check in with her, but we will get it fixed.
I doubt that happened last night.
no, it didn't.
Oh, I don't think it happened.
Well, hopefully it will
Probably
happen in a
first week of
future meeting.
February.
So I guess, Lindsay, you only can refrain from calling the fire department for hopefully another
So-
And
month.
the final water readings.
You can't get any water meter readings or.
I have to uninstall my pool.
No, it's only if you can talk to them about personal, but like you can't represent another body.
Yes, if it's about your pool, it's fine. But if you were calling about,
The community pool.
or
No,
like,
it's
if I called Liz about something that's related to community action, apparently that's an ethics violation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who knew? I did sign, I had an ethics, I had to sign something when community action facilitated the city's emergency rental assistance program that had to go through ethics.
Right. I remember that.
But I feel like we should have come up at that time, but like, oh, you're never supposed to talk to anybody about anything other than housing partnership business, but.
It's really putting us in a box. Like, we don't want to hear from you unless you talk.
Let's about this. So the good news is we're gonna fix it, but I will check in with Connie about how long that will take. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, Lindsay, because we had, and apparently we have been just forgotten from everybody else has it but us. All right. I had two other things that came to me. Oh no, sorry, one more thing. Chit, the conversation of the chair. So I have been the chair
Since God was a boy.
for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We do not have there's no term limit. We could talk about that, but we currently do not have a term limit. We don't have officers really. There have been times before where I've said, who else wants to be the chair? And everybody was like, not me. And so then I kept doing it. But I do think we have 9 people on the partnership. We have some very qualified folks. And I'm happy to give up my chair duties. Being the chair means that you schedule the meetings, you facilitate the meetings, you make sure Barbara gets your meeting notes, your meeting agenda the Thursday before the meeting, and she gets the notes, which she reminds you of occasionally when she doesn't have any notes. She did yesterday. And then you're like the point of contact. So you'd be the point of contact for Allison, I mean, over the years, I've had, conversations with city councilors. Once in a blue moon, the mayor will call about something. You're like the point person to, organize who's going to go to the meetings, that kind of stuff. It's not a huge responsibility. It probably takes me, I would say, to prep for the meeting and like get everything ready like a couple hours that week. And then it's really like how much work you want to put into it. So I could certainly spend a lot more hours on it than I do. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's busy.
You look at me.
Some people not here that would probably be great at it and really excel.
That's true. Yoshi's not here, Ben's not here, Donna's not here. I am here. I don't know if there's anybody interested. If anyone wants to think about it.
Well, do you want to not be chair anymore?
This is what I will say. There was a time when I really loved being chair.
And that was about 10 years ago.
And it's not that I don't love it. I mean, you all know this about me, but like, I love affordable housing. I love being able to do this work in the city of Easthampton. I don't feel like I need to be the chair to do that work. Like, I'm not going to leave the partnership, but like, I'm, we have a new planner. We will have a new mayor. Like, like I feel like it's a good time for a new chair to come on board because there's new relationships to build. I mean, I'm happy to keep doing it, but I also am happy to let someone else do it. It's a great opportunity. It has been a great opportunity for me, like not having, I joined the partnership like a month after I moved here because I knew Jackie. And it was
a founding member.
Yes, yes. Jackie is a founding member. And it's been a really great opportunity for me to like meet people.
Forgot about the special municipal thing when you found it.
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity, but I'm happy to pass that opportunity on to someone else.
Is there an obligation to vote on that tonight?
It's not, again, we don't have term limits. There's no like, nothing's going to happen tomorrow, but there's not an obligation to vote on it. If people want to think about it, or we can just put it out there as a thing that we could, could come up at another meeting. So.
I think it's a good think about it moment.
Okay. So just to think about it moment. If anybody privately wants to ask me questions about it, I'm happy to chat about it.
I have two things under other items when we get there.
Yeah, I do too. So we're ready to move to other items?
I was thinking about like, let's say somebody wanted to put their name in for chair, but for some reason felt uncomfortable. I would volunteer as like a grab interested names person or something.
If publicly people didn't want to be like, I want to do it.
Yeah. If they felt weird being like, hey, Jana, I want your job. Anyway, I'm just saying that is something I would volunteer to do. I'll collect names if you want.
I mean, I doubt we're going to end up with like a contested vote here, but like, yes,
It sounds like you're volunteering to be clerk.
Yeah. Ooh.
I mean, she's the minutes taker.
Today.
Well, there's always
For the
treasurer.
3 years that I've been on the
For all the money that we have. I mean, if we got to that, it would be a good time to also have a conversation if we wanted to have an official minute taker.
Right.
We don't have
I
that
always
either.
turn them in late anyway.
I mean, I usually turn them in late also. So, but if I wasn't chair, I could also be the minute. I could take minutes.
Do we have access to the AI that automatically takes notes? Those note takings are really good. You just have to kind of look it over and.
You have to make sure you know who said what though, right? Because it doesn't know who's talking.
Well, and I never do it exactly that way anyway. I think that I don't think that you want your minutes to be an exact recording of your
No,
meeting.
they aren't. When AI jots it down in minute form, bullet point. Are you kidding? It's awesome.
The challenge that I know my staff has had with Google when it's a hybrid meeting is it doesn't work as well. If
Yeah.
you're all remote, it works pretty well.
That makes sense. Yeah.
A situation like this, it just doesn't articulate.
I have to bounce.
Okay, so we should nominate Lindsay
Yeah.
chair. Right.
Yeah.
kidding. No one seconded. It's not real. It's not
Thank
real.
you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a think about it moment. We can talk about it next meeting if we want to. All right. Other items. You have 2 items.
Do you want to do yours first?
Sure. I got an email today or yesterday from Peter Graham
Hmm.
from Sierra Vista Commons because they are putting in their one-stop application for funding and would like a support letter. Where is it? For the first phase, blah, blah, blah. Could we write some? So I said, oh, it's a meeting. We have a meeting tonight. I will talk to the group and get back to you.
So there's 2 one-stops going in in February. One from Home City Housing,
Yep, 11
for
Ferry.
Ferry Street, and then this one.
Yeah,
That we get letters of support from us.
correct.
Okay. That'll be fun.
And I think, I mean, just as a procedure, we can't necessarily vote on a letter of support tonight, right? But we can,
Oh, because it wasn't on the agenda.
yeah.
You're so good, guys. You're right. We can't vote on anything.
Right.
I think it's the end of February that it's going in. Is what Peter Serafino said.
They haven't even opened the one tab yet, so
We have time.
I think so.
That's a very true too.
I don't want to.
Well, the next meeting, the fourth Thursday. No,
That's another one of my agenda items is the February meeting.
yeah, would be the 27th, which is really the end of the month as we know it.
Oh, they just,
But anyway,
the 24th it opens for expressions of interest.
mm,
The deadline for submissions is, the submission period is May 5th to June 4th.
okay.
We're talking one stop, correct?
Mhm, that's what he
Did I
said.
hear you? Okay, yeah.
Well, okay. He said state funding and federal tax credits.
So there could be different deadlines for
different deadlines.
tax credit.
Well, I can find out when the deadline is,
All right.
and hopefully we'll have time to do it next time. I could probably draft it for next time and circulate it if that speeds it up.
Right.
Thank you for that point of
Yeah, you can
clarification.
do that, right? As long as we don't, you could even circulate it before, as long as we don't collaborate on it.
Correct. So if I say, here's the draft, we're gonna vote on this date, then that's fine. You can't then edit it via the email group. All right, my other question is about the February meeting, because my executive director who's retiring is being recognized by GCC that night.
Do I get an invite to that?
If
You know, I'm not on the board anymore.
Well, maybe if you're going to be co-chair of her retirement party. So I would like to go. Now, you could always meet without me. It's not like I have to be here. But we were scheduled to meet on February 27th. And I could meet on the February the 20th, which is the Thursday before, or the 25th or 26th of that week. There any initial like, yes, that works for me, or no, it definitely doesn't?
The 20th would work for me.
I'm fine.
I can do the 20th also.
Is that fine for you, Jackie?
I think it should be fine.
I also have another item.
I'll shoot for the 20th, because that would probably also give us, it's not the end of the month, for the support letter, and I'll email Barbara and see if we can get a room. Okay. Those are my two items.
Do you have one to add to?
I have one.
Okay.
You can go.
So I have a sad item which could lead to something important, which is a former member of ours, Alita Kennedy, who we adored. I won't speak for Jana, but I adored Alita. Alita just passed away in December. She was a member of this committee for a while. She lived on East Street in a Habitat house. I don't know what's happening with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something we should follow up with Habitat about. Like what makes the most sense there?
I think we could ask Habitat what their process is like. It happens when someone passes away.
How long ago was the Habitat House built? Do you know?
It's been a while.
There's usually like a number of years. I think,
Pre-pandemic.
restriction.
Oh, God.
Way
Okay, all right. So I moved here in 2007. It was probably like 2010, 2011.
Yeah. This was a big issue. What's the word I'm trying to find? This was a big celebratory event for the housing partnership because that property was built with a big amount of land, a huge acreage going to conservation, and then another acre that went to affordable housing. It was a coup. It was a really lovely.
It was a great example of conservation and affordable housing working together.
Thank you. Yeah.
And CPA, put in $100,000 for that one lot where
Mhm.
it's like a duplex that's there now.
Mhm.
I think I mean, I don't know what Habitat won't tell us anything personal, but we could ask like what happens when in this case, like
Yeah.
what's their
They
resale?
resell.
I mean, I don't know what their deed says
I
about.
was gonna say, there might be a deed restriction.
I would think there has to be.
There's definitely a deed restriction, but if you,
But usually there's like a term, like
Mhm.
it's like 15 years it has to.
One to two.
So who owns, or when Alita was living there, who
She
owns
owned it.
She owns that
Yeah,
house?
because Habitat for Humanity
They
you own
give
your
you
home.
the home, okay.
They don't give it to you. Some of
Right,
it's
right.
sweat equity.
Mhm.
She was paying a mortgage on it that she could afford.
Yes, but I mean, they give the name rights. Yes,
It's her.
she's the
yeah,
homeowner.
she's the
Okay.
homeowner.
Do they use LIHTC at all?
No, it's like volunteer donated
Oh, okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think because there's a database of LIHTC properties, but
She has an affordable housing deed right
Where are you looking?
on land records.
Yeah.
It's public record.
I don't know if it like went to her grandson. It's hard to know what the scoop is with all of that.
I think so. I'm just like, I mean, like yeah, this is just like a regular deed restriction.
The restrictive covenants. is that
Yeah.
what you're looking at?
And like in my old days, like if someone lives in a 40, like this is actually a 40B project, that's what they used to build it. Like someone could die and someone else could live there. But like they, but if they can't sell it.
Right.
So I mean, I think Habitat, you can't ever sell it.
Well, someone would have to still be paying the mortgage too.
Yeah.
Well, it
So,
might be better. You could sell it, but the buyer's fee income qualify.
Mhm.
yeah.
Right. Which
Right.
usually is.
So I
But
mean,
I
I
don't
think
think he's.
I
Last I
think you
heard, she
could
wasn't
ask
living.
Megan like what's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
I don't remember if I've met her or not.
Oh, I have her. I can ask her. I don't know her well, but I have her contact information.
Who is this?
Megan,
The
who's the
director of Habitat.
Habitat AD. Let me just ask what will happen to the property.
Wait, do you know her last name?
McDonough.
Oh,
Right.
so I was friends with a Megan at, what is housing? Wayfinders.
Mm.
And I knew she shifted and it was similar, but I didn't know where she went. I guess it's not that Megan.
Yeah, unless her last name is McDonough. All right, I can reach out to her and just say like, hey, we were,
I wonder if they must know, right?
geez.
I mean, his car is still there.
It's covered with snow.
I don't know.
I would think they would know.
There was nothing in the paper or anything.
I would think her neighbor would tell them.
True, but who knows?
All right, anything,
So my
what's your
other
other
item is sad, and it is that I'm resigning from the housing partnership.
What? No, I'm just kidding.
Because I've been asked, I'm being appointed to the Easthampton Housing Authority.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so,
that's really good news.
That is really good news.
yeah.
It feels like a lot of work.
Bittersweet news, but
Right?
good news.
I
that
mean,
something-
it's hard to break up with you all because I love you and I love the work this committee does. And I, as you know, have been on it since before it was the housing partnership. It was a subcommittee of EDIC originally. When I moved to Easthampton in 2003 and started being a member of the housing committee with Jim Sullivan in circa 2005. Yeah, 20 years ago. So, but the mayor has asked me to
I think
go
that's a good thing
be
for
on the housing authority.
board.
And also I said, I will do that if I am now the housing authority's person on the CPA committee.
Oh,
So you're welcome for that, which is like insane.
who's the current housing
Joe
authority?
McCoy, who's
Oh,
stepping off the housing authority and I am taking his place.
oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. When is this effective?
I have to meet with appointments committee, February 3rd.
Okay.
So I think this is probably my last meeting,
Says the note taker.
but I'll come visit.
Okay, well, I get it.
I know.
Awesome.
We'll still ask you to come do things and show up to meetings.
I know. It's like, I've tried to break up with you before.
I
and
know.
It never sticks.
I know, you're like, I think I'm gonna resign. I'm like, really? Are you? I don't think you would.
Oh, somebody has to move.
Now you can join the coalition.
That's true.
I have no time.
Kelsey, we're just gonna take a nap.
I barely have the time.
The fact that I'm like, sure, I'll join the housing authority and also put me on the CPA, like I have time for that, which I really don't, but. And here's the thing that I'll wait. All right. Okay, well,
Okay,
you
so-
had one more.
But so just so you know, with telling me that you're resigning is not actually mean that you
I know.
resign. So you
I have to write
actually
a
have to write a letter and you have to give it, to make sure you give it to Barbara
I will.
and Lindsay.
Okay.
Because I've had other people who are like, I resigned, and I'm like, no, you did not.
It's like when you go, I declare bankruptcy.
Yes.
That doesn't actually do it.
Right.
I was just thinking.
Trash. All right. Hopefully yours is not that you're resigning.
No. The school reuse.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
So in that meeting with Omar Gomez, I was like, all right, you need to tell me what's going on with the school reuse. So he gave me the information that last he spoke with Michael Owens, it had been handed over to Arch Communities, the developer for that property. I did an internet sleuthing and found the information of the ED of that organization and sent him an email saying, hello, we are the Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership. Loop us in on what's going on. We want to support. We've been supportive of this process for the last however long kind of thing. And I will just read his email back. He said, hi, Kayam. Thank you for touching base, as I appreciate you reaching out to me. Right now, we're working with our historical consultant to certify the buildings with both the National Park Service and the Massachusetts Historical Commission to facilitate the use of the federal and state historic tax credits for the project. That has involved having a specialty firm complete laser scans of the existing buildings, interior and exterior, as base plans, as well as completing the historic narrative as required under the Part 1 submission. At the same time, our architect and engineers are working on the base design plans that will be submitted to the NPS/MHC as part of the Part 2 submission. After receiving Part 1 and Part 2 approval, we'll be in the MHC funding rounds for historic tax credit awards, and we'll be accumulating those credit allocations for the project. Once those state historic awards are accumulating from MHC, we'll be preparing for the housing credit submittal to the EOHLC, and at that point, it would be very helpful to have a letter of support.
10 years from now.
And I'm always available to touch base by email, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, thank you for reaching out. I said it might also be a good idea if someone from your team would be able to later in the process to have a short presentation of your plans again and like bring us in, help us be the best possible advocates for the project. And he seemed amenable to that. But I felt like that was just a big question mark that we were all like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Sorry,
totally.
which project is this?
School reuse.
Oh, school reuse, yeah.
If you email that,
Forgot about
we'll
them
attach it
almost.
to minutes.
Yeah, I'll forward you that now.
We'll attach 4 minutes.
Great. Yes, thank you for
That's
reaching
very
out to them,
exciting.
because even in the community, people are like, what's going on with schools?
I
Yeah.
got asked last night.
Yeah.
so- And I did not have the answer, unfortunately. So now I do. Thank you. Thanks for doing my job.
All right. Anything else?
Anything else for tonight? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
Made one. I am seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
It's 7:15.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.